Hello and welcome to the second video of our second week. In this video, we're going to look at this study and then we are going to try to give a research presentation based on this study. So this study is called Student Experience of Part-Time Work. It is divided into four parts: introductions, methodology, findings, and conclusion. So we are going to look at each part in detail, starting with the introduction part. There are 4 sentences in this part. So if you remember from the previous video, I said that there are 3 moves in the introduction part: the establishing a research area, move 1, move 2, identifying a gap in the research area, and move 3, occupying the gap. So these 4 sentences follow the 3 moves. Starting from first sentence, with the increase of course fees and the related increase in student debt, many university students are finding it is necessary to work part-time. So in the first sentence, the author established a research area by talking about many university students are doing part-time work. And then in the second sentence, nowadays, university students are twice as likely to be working part-time as they were in the past. So this sentence compares the number of students who are doing part-time in the present and in the past. So the first 2 sentences give a background information about the research area that the author are interested in. And in the third sentence, despite the fact that many university students have been shuffling between the part-time work and study, little empirical evidence exists about the impact of part-time employment on student life and academic performance. So the author used the word despite to show the contrast, and the word little empirical evidence, the word little itself shows the lack of study in this area. So this will lead naturally to the third move, which is occupying the gap. So in the fourth sentence, the author said that the purposes of this study are to examine how part-time work affects student life and study, and to find out the reason for work and types of work. So the fourth sentence tell the purpose of the study, inform to the audience about the purpose of this study, the aim of this study, and then the author will move on to the methodology. There are 3 sentences in this part. The first sentence, in the methodology part, the author will share with the leader, with the listener, how he or she collect the data and how he or she analyze the data. So start with the first sentence. The research was done by asking students selected at random on the campus to complete a questionnaire. With only 1 sentence, we know that the research participants are students. And we also know that they are selected as random. And also, we also know that the research tools in this study is a questionnaire. So we know about the samples, we know about the sampling technique, and we know about the research tool in 1 sentence. And then in the second sentence, 50 students were questioned with equal numbers of males and female students. So this sentence gives more information about the samples. And the third sentence, the questionnaire consists of 6 questions. So this sentence gives the information about the questionnaire, saying that there are 6 questions asking students. The first question asks whether student has a part-time work. The second question asks about the reason for work. And the third question asks about the effect of work on academic performance. Fourth question asks what type of student work. And five questions ask the number of working hours. And the last question asks students to comment about their work. And then the author said that the data was analyzed by using percentage. So we now know about the research methodology. Next, we're going to move to the finding. Because there are 6 questions in the questionnaire, the finding will be presented in order of the question in the questionnaire, starting with the first question. The first question asks student whether the student has a part-time job. So the finding will as follows. So for the first questions, 8 men and 7 women were currently working part-time. That means these students are working at the moment right now, and these accounting to 30% of the samples. And next, 4 men and 6 women had part-time work. That means they were doing part-time work in the past. Then they don't do it anymore, and this accounting to 20%. And next, half of the samples say that they have never done part-time work before. So there are 25 students who said they never done part-time work during their study. So next, we're going to move on the second questions. The finding for the second questions about why, the reason for taking a job. So the student who worked reports that the main reason for working was lack of money. And also some students say that they found that the work useful for the futures. And the last reason is that they get social benefit. For example, they meet new friends, they learn from each other. So next is the finding for the third question. The student will ask about the effect of work on their study. A significant majority of 64% claim that there were no negative effect at all. And then this followed by 24 who say that there was some slight effect on their study and their life. And only 12% report a serious effect, such as failing the class or missing the subject, missing the class. Next is the course fourth question. Students were asked about what kind of work that they did, and many jobs were reported. But the most popular job for students were waiter or waitress at the restaurant. This followed by a sales assistant, and then a secretary, a cleaners, and a drivers. Next, the fifth question, students were asked about the numbers of hours and wages. So most students saying that they work between 10 to 15 hours per week. This is quite a lot, the majority 88%. And only 3 students or 12% say that they work more than 25 hours a week. And their rate were at the national minimum wage of around $9 per hour. And the final question or the last question ask students to comment on their experience of part-time work. So some students say that they would like the university to offer more scholarship, more grants, so that they don't have to do part-time work. But also other students felt that they gain some experience, they gain something good from work experience, from their working, such as meeting new people and getting insight into various work environment. And then in conclusion, um, the first sentence is it clear from the survey that part-time work is now a common aspect of student life. So this statement shows that it's quite common for students to work part-time during their time in the university. And then it shows the finding that the majority of students say that they don't have any damaging effect on their study, and some of them insist that working part-time will be useful for their future. And the last sentence says, obviously, this survey was limited to small samples and by time constraint. This sentence admit the limitation of the study because there are only like 50 students, and they also say that if there are more students in the survey, the finding might be different. So here are the details of the mini research which contain introduction part, methodology finding, and conclusion. So in next video, we are going to turn this research into a mini research presentation. So see you in the next video.